The easiest way in newer AutoCAD to kind of transfer into drawing something three-dimensionally is actually changing kind of the layout of the way the tabs and stuff work. So the way we do that is up in the upper left hand corner where it says drafting and annotation. If you click on that and it drops down, you'll see that it says 3D Basics, 3D Modeling. So we're going to start off with the basics. And you can see that all the toolbars basically start to change, right? Rather than, you don't have that. So see this little arrow right here? If you click it and then go to workspace, and it should be checked. Okay, and then click on, yeah, and then it'll go. Click on that and it'll drop down, click 3D Basics. Has everybody got it now? Better?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, so you can see like all the buttons changed, right? Like none of them look the same no more. Well, some of them might be the same, but for the most part, they are different. And this is done to make it a little easier. Usually when, like if you're running a different version of AutoCAD that doesn't run the ribbons, all of this stuff is in the toolbar. Various toolbars. They're a lot smaller icons. They don't have the words, right? So it is a little more difficult to draw in 3D, I will say, when it comes to that stuff. But luckily they gave you the 3D Basics now. You used to have to figure out what you're going to need and what's the toolbar called and all that stuff. So it's nice. It's nice. I think I'm finally in order. Okay. So there's two different ways to draw in 3D. One is you draw a 2D shape or object and you extrude it, right? The other one, so that's called like kind of additive modeling, where you're taking something, you're adding to it. Yeah, the other one would be like modified modeling. So there's two different. So we're just gonna start. So basically, like I said, we're gonna draw a cube with some rounded corners. So the first way, and kind of one of the more common ways, would be to draw a rectangle. We'll just draw it like, I don't know, 6 by 4. Okay. Then fill it the rectangle. We'll do it at 1 inch. And then you could fill it all the corners, right? So you come up with something like that.
Don't click the box yet.
No. We're just drawing a 2D rectangle right now. This is where the shortcut commands come in really helpful because your toolbars are different, right? So if you have the shortcut command, it makes it a lot easier. So the shortcut command would be REC, or you can type out the word rectangle.
What was it? 2 by 4? Or was it
4 by 6 wide, 4 high. Doesn't necessarily matter, but it's fine. Okay. So right now you can see we have a 2D drawing, right? So what I want everyone to do is come over with a little gizmo, and you see there's a little corner right here between the S and the W, and it highlights when you click it up in the top right, up here. Yeah. So if I click that, bam, now I'm in 3D, right? So it takes my view, and instead of looking straight down to something, I'm actually looking axonometrically. Can't believe I said that word right. Yeah. It's the upper right corner. So if I go back to top to this guy right here. Yeah. So that cube, if you guys just want to kind of play around with it a little bit, you could actually like quickly start to look at a bunch of different views just by clicking. So that's one way to do it. The other way is if you hold the shift key down and use the mouse wheel like you used to pan, and it'll start to rotate too. So you can see I'm in top view, I hold shift, pan key, and I'm able to, you can see when I do it that it's actually starting to change. My icon changes. Looks like this little like spinning world little thing. It's kind of hard for you guys to see, but can see on your own screens too. Yeah.
You click the top or where you click?
What? Click anywhere. It don't matter. Just like panning. You know, when I click down on the wheel, I pan.
No, I'm
So-
saying on the, what do you call it?
The cube, the view. It's called a view cube.
The view cube.
Yeah.
What'd you do? You just clicked on the top?
It doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter?
No, you're automatically on top when you start drawing. Okay.
To see it.
Yeah. So to see it like that, is that what you want?
Yeah.
So hold shift and press down the wheel on your mouse like you're gonna pan.
Okay.
But instead of panning, what it does is starts to orbit. I think you could type orbit. Yeah, and you see the icon stays the same. So now I could use the right or the left mouse button click to do it. So it's still a command. Then I get the escape and now I'm out of it. But the easiest way, hold shift, rotate, and you start to. So this is not a perspective drawing. It is still dimensionally equal. So it's still axonometric. So there's a difference between those two. So basically, one of the most common practices, there's two different ways to do it now. So you have, type in extrude. And the shortcut command is this guy right here with the little cube with a little arrow kind of pointed up, right? So it's this guy right here. So if I click it, right? If I click that,
Select object.
select my object. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna select the object.
Oh, bam.
You hit spacebar, and then now it's asking you for a distance. So simply hit 2. Okay. So it necessarily doesn't look like a three-dimensional object, right? It looks like a bunch of series of lines. So there's two different ways to change it. If we hit this, if you right or left click on 2D wireframe, and you come down, any of these ones, these first 4, concept, hidden, realistic, and shaded, I think, will give you, will give you a better three-dimensional drawing.
Right click.
No, regular click. Yeah. So conceptual, it gives you shades and shadows, so you can kind of see the difference between the two surfaces. Then, conceptual, hidden. Hidden is the simplest one. That one's gonna be like the easiest one to work on if you want to see your project hidden, because it takes the least amount of computer power to do that. If you come in and you start using conceptual, like that's taking a lot of computer power to do. I only have one object in here, but if you got like 10,000 different objects, and you have them all hidden and you're trying to pan, you'll literally see it go like, it looks like a robot style, right? And it's like getting really pissed off at you, like it's crying, like when you like max out at the gym, that's what it's doing. So the other way to do, so leave that, and then we're gonna go back to the top view.
I have the squares inside the cube or whatever.
The squares.
Yeah, like
Let me see. Hold on. So that's one way. So if we draw another rectangle, what was it? 6x4, right? And we're gonna fill it the same. Yeah, but I'm just gonna show you a few different, like the way different tools work, basically. So what I want to do now is I want to offset 1 inch. Okay, so it's fine that the fillet goes away. It's not a big deal. Okay, so 6x4 rectangle, fillet radius 1 should already be in there. You did the last one was fillet radius, then we offset it by 1. It'll get rid of the radius, no problem. Don't worry about it. So now I want everybody to copy it over. Okay, so just copy it over into space. Doesn't matter how far away. Really doesn't matter. So now I got 2 of them, right? Okay.
Oh, you just copied the same.
I just copied the same exact one over. Okay, so with this first one,
How much did we offset?
1. You could do different, or did you draw a new rectangle that's right size this time? Yeah, 6x4. Okay, so if we go ahead and we do extrude, we could pick both of them. You can extrude multiple objects at once, no problem. I'm gonna go 2. Okay, just stay in the top view for now, just because I want you guys to see like the inner workings, and then yeah.
What's the opposite size? 2?
1. So the next one, it does something really similar, but it's actually a little more advanced, I guess. So it's called press pull. Okay. So here, you can see how my mouse highlights differently when I'm here, hovered in between, or when I'm hovered in the middle. We want to be hovered in between. Okay. So if I click that and I type 2, you see how they look different, right? So let's go ahead and let's look at it on 3D. So what press pull is actually doing is you're able to extract or extrude objects, right? And Boolean out objects at the same exact time. Now you guys say, what the heck is a Boolean? That's what this next step is. Okay? So in AutoCAD it's called subtract. In like every other modeling program that I've ever used is called Boolean. So how big is your square? Just show you how to break it and then how to fix it. Okay? You don't have to do this part, but so if we had a box like this and I go into 3D, how can I go in 3D? They don't want to let me go in 3D now. Screw you then. So if I move this up and then I offset, I guess I could do 1, right? Yeah. So if I try press pull, let's see if it works for me. Yeah, see. So when it's not actually on 0, it's not gonna work. So the easiest way to do it, it's actually a command called change. So the word change, you'll select both the objects. Then it's gonna ask you what you want to do. So I want to change the properties of this object, right? So I go to properties, and then there's a little word that says ELEV, which is elevation, and then you can see it's at 2.9655. So if I type 0, hit enter, bam, it slaps it back down to 0. It's the easiest way to get your stuff back down to 0. You can do the same thing with this, or there's a way to do it. Sometimes it doesn't work properly when you go through properties and you look at the list of the different things that are there. I found this to be the most effective. There's another command called flatten, but what flatten does is it'll flatten all those drawings across each other. So, for instance, if this one, I don't even know how to, let's see here. If I did front, my view cube is not working. You son of a gun. Oh well. Why is it not working? That is weird. It's on. Oh well. I broke it. I broke it, man. I break stuff all the time in AutoCAD. The forums hate me. It's like stuck. Did I lock a view? Is there a way to lock a view? Anyway, whatever. Alright, so flatten works differently because if a line, I could draw it. And it's so basically, press pull is doing 2 commands in once. It's going to do the extrude and it's also going to do the subtraction. So if we go ahead and we do subtract, okay? Now, subtract is like trim, right? Imagine trimming a 3-dimensional object. So we want to pick what we want to keep first, and then what we want to subtract out second. So we're going to keep the outer one, so we're going to pick the outer one, okay? Hit enter. Then, if I could get to it, it won't let me pick that one, huh? There it goes. Got it. Pick the second one, hit enter. Now look at it. It looks the same. You see what I'm saying? Ooh. Wow. Now is it gonna work? No. Anyways. You see what it's doing? So you see how push-pull is doing 2 things versus extrudes, you have to do the second step. So there's 2 different ways. So, I mean, you could get, let's do this. View. This is going to bug me. is really gonna bug me. Yeah.
Can you click on the little...
See, it's giving me this one?
No, the drop down.
I did, but it's not letting me click on anything. So I will show you real quick. You can go ahead and follow along if you want. I am gonna do. Well, I'm just gonna show you like the extent of push pull that you could do. If that's the cheese you eat. Yeah, so you can see that it actually does quite a bit with press pull. It's pretty cool. He's doing what? Yeah, I mean, and the extrude tool worked the same. I mean, you could simply, yeah, you could. So to extrude anything, you're gonna need a poly line, not a series of lines. So
Where is that on the? Is it in line?
what's what now?
Polyline. I see 3D polyline.
PL. No, just type in PL. So now if I, looks like a dented leaf skin building. Yep. So if I take this, it does. You see? So as long as it's a closed polyline, you're able to extrude it. It's pretty cool, right? So I'm gonna get rid of both of those because they're just kind of in the way. So if I were to move this guy, there it is. I knew I had one left. So if you move it, your 2D line should still be there. Okay. So the next thing I want to do is I want to move this out 2 inches. So it looks more like this. I'm not going to trim it off. I'm just going to leave it like that, right? And then I'm going to copy it over 2 times. So you should have, I don't know, so a square within, yeah. You got that or no? So the first one, we're going to extrude both of the objects. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do 2, okay? Then I'm going to do a subtract again. I just want to show you how subtract works in different entities. So if I select the one I want to pick, the one I want to get rid of, and you have, so what it'll do, it actually takes out like the side of it instead of the middle. It was subtract, and then I pick the one that I was keeping, and then spacebar, pick the one I get rid of. So if I extrude it, 2, subtract, pick the one I want to keep, pick the one I get rid of. Got it? Kind of? Yeah. Okay. So the next one, we're going to take this one, and I'm going to take it up to, I'm going to do 8 this time. The smaller one, we're going to do 4. Okay? And then if you click on the little gizmo, so you see how the gizmo pops up and it highlights the vertical line? Yeah. So if you click that, it's going to move it. Yeah, so if we type in 2, it'll move it up 2. The same thing will work if you click this one. It'll move it to the left or the right, blah, blah, blah. You can use -2, +2, blah, blah, blah. Okay? So if I subtract, just one more, we'll be right there. So if I subtract this one now, you see that the hole is not actually going all the way through. It's just simply subtracting the mass from the other mass.
Why did that happen?
Because it's only going to subtract what's actually intersecting on the 2 objects. You know what I'm saying? So if we go and well here, let's copy it one more time because there's actually 2 more we're going to show. Okay? So if we extrude this one 4, Oops, 4. I did 40. So if we extrude it, 4. 4, there we go. We extrude this one. Gosh. We extrude this one. And we extrude it, say 1, right? So right now they're overlapping, right? Like you can see that they're actually intersecting on each other. So if I union something, so I click that one, so now they're acting as one object. So now you can see that I no longer can see the boundary of the smaller box, just simply one box, right? So if I go back there, now if I move this one out, okay, and I try to union them, it's going to union them, right? But there's no space. There's still space in between. You know what I'm saying? So it's making one object even though they're not touching.
So it's kind of like a block.
It's kind of like more like a group. It's more grouping them together. But I can still see the boundary of each one. But now they move together, right? Because I can't explode it like a block, so it's not necessarily a block. Because if I explode it, look, it's a bunch of faces. You see? So you don't necessarily want to do that. And then to the last one, if we extrude this one, say 4, extrude this one, 1, and then if we move this in the vertical direction, 1, and then I do, so let's do this. Take this, rotate it, and just rotate it. Why didn't it rotate? Like, we'll rotate it 45 degrees. So it's like intersecting really weird, right? It's fine. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just have it so it's like intersecting kind of funky. Okay? So the last one of like kind of the editing tools is intersect. So if I pick both of my objects and I right click, it's only going to give me the shape left that is common between the shapes, all the two shapes. You can do this across like, I don't know. I don't think I've ever tried it past like 4. But in theory, you should be able to like intersect 12 objects at once. As long as they're all kind of touching or intersecting. Not touching. If they're just touching face to face, I don't think it counts. But as long as they're like overlapped on each other. Cool? All right. So look, I got like a city going on. Look at that, kind of weird. So, I know, right? We're gonna move back kind of to the beginning, but I just want to show you like extruding from 2D objects and stuff. So, all of these shapes are pre-built-in shapes. They're exactly that. They're boxes. You know, if I do a box, I could type in dimensions. And it'll come out of those dimensions. Actually, I think you have to put the @ sign, right? If I do like at 12. Yeah. So it's 12 by 12, and then I could hit 12. So it's 12 by 12 by 12 cube. You know what I'm saying? So all these are dimensionally correct to what you draw. So 12 inches, 12 inches, 12 inches. Okay? You also have cylinders that you could pre-do. So it's going to be the radius, or down here, hit diameter. So if I go 12, then it's asking me for my height. I can go 12. So I basically have a cylinder that is 12 inches in diameter, 12 inches high. 12 units high, whatever. The other one that's in here is a cone. So it works very similar to a cylinder. But instead of giving you a full extrusion, it's actually going to give you the conical shape. So you can build a castle. There you go. Like when you're like a kid, right? Playing with blocks. It's right there. So the next one is a sphere. So what a sphere does is it's taking it's only give you one radius or one diameter, and it's going to draw it both directions at the same time. So that is 12 inches wide at like every single radius or every single dimension around the circumference or whatever. So here's your pyramid. So I could draw a pyramid. Pretty cool pyramid, huh? Works for me. You could actually adjust it too. You could adjust it this way, the bottom. You could adjust the top. Yeah, so it has.
Question.
Yep.
So how did you get it to start drawing at a higher elevation than the block underneath?
So down here, I think, is it on? I think 3D Snaps is automatically on when you change to 3D Basics, right? So, because you see how I just snapped. So, if I click here, these are all snappable objects, right? Like, I have an endpoint, I have a midpoint, I have an endpoint. I can snap to that, just like that. And now my line's, whoa, look at that. So, now my line, you know what I'm saying? So, I was just snapping to the actual objects that were already at an elevation. Okay, so a wedge, you can see one elevation instead of both. So you could create like a skate park. Yeah. There you go. You could draw your car and have it jump over from Express Tools.
I have a question.
Yep.
So, let's say,
So you're talking like if I had an object like this, I'm gonna cut the top off of it.
yeah, like, just like, there's just a small piece just sticking out.
So, oops, I don't want that. I want this. So if I were to do that, okay, this is where I need.
Subtract it.
Exactly. You can subtract it out. So, is that what you're talking about? Like just
No.
chopping up the top?
Like,
So he has the sphere, and then he went ahead of me and did a torus from the center to give me a donut if I hit F. Right? So something like that. And then he had the cone, start in the middle, and he came like that, right? Oops. Why can't you pick 6.5. There you go. So he was basically trying to get rid of this top part. So what I was saying is we could do is you could copy it over. You could subtract. And then now this part is by itself. You know what I'm saying? So this is where it becomes like really time consuming, because then you gotta come and like subtract again. So now it's gone. So now you can move it back to 45. So it's no longer on there. Yeah. So, but I'm gonna show you a fast way to do it right now. Okay. So, which is kind of where we were going anyways. So the last two was a torus and a polysolid. So let me just go ahead and do a polysolid. So it's exactly that. Like, imagine it just drawing walls. I mean, I think they literally created this so that architects could draw walls in 3 dimensions. I mean, I don't know what else you would really use it for. So back to Mr. Ralph's Saturn. So if I go back to my top view and I were to draw basically a circle, right? And then draw that, and then draw a circle there. What I want to do is I want to create a polyline from this, right? What'd you say? It's GRU, yeah, exactly. Yeah, pick it, yeah. Yes, join. Click. So now it's polyline, right? So where's it at? I just saw it. Here it is. So the next tool is revolve. Not revolver, revolve, right? So if I were to take revolve, select that, you can see I could do it at half, so it only gives me half. Could do 360, and then take this one, revolve it around the center point. So it created the same thing, right? That's what I'm saying. So that was probably a lot faster than going through and subtract. You know what I'm saying? So modeling, it's gonna be just a preference thing, and then
Just leave it at that point.
what'd you say?
Just leave it at that point.
I don't think. Yeah, hold on. There's a 3D rotate in one of these guys. I think it's just 3D
Rotate 3D.
or 3D rotate is how I remember it. So if I select the objects, so this one, it's gonna ask for the axis of which I want to turn it. So I'm gonna actually come out this way, right? Or I guess I could use the gizmo. Yeah, there you go. So same shape. I mean different sizes, but that's because I didn't actually know what size everything was. But it gives you the same kind of thing. Questions? So Loft is kind of a really cool tool. So there's two different ways to do Loft. You can loft lines together, you can loft solids together. So if I draw a circle, and then I draw another circle, and I draw another circle. Okay? So I want to move this to here, and I want to move this like that, something like that, right? So they're in 3 dimensions. Now I'm going to move this guy over here, move this guy. Oh, I don't want both of them, just this one. Move it over, okay? So you can see they're in 3 dimensions, right? So if we go loft, and I click this one, and click that one, and then click that one. Yeah, so you can see that it get very kind of organic shapes with that kind of stuff. You know, it's kind of cool.
Statues.
Exactly. So that's kind of the way you could loft something. The other way, if we had an arc, right, and another arc, this one may not come out exactly the same though, because it's not in closed geometry the same shape. But if we go loft, so you can see that it actually creates just a single surface. It's not actually a solid. Yeah. But you could create some pretty crazy stuff with loft. Yeah. You can do simple stuff too. So let's see what happens if I do a rectangular circle. So, oops, it's going to create some shape that I don't even think has a name. Yeah. Looks real. So that's loft. Sweep and revolve work real similar. Okay. So, Guillermo, you want to draw a bolt? Sweep's going to do it for you. Let me see if I hover over it long enough, it comes up, right? Kind of looks like a bolt, right? Right?
Spring.
Well, but you think about what a bolt is. It's it's that same thing, but just a diamond or a triangle shape, kind of sweeping. Yeah. So that's how you could kind of create a bolt. Large, just, yeah, yes. So
Cylinder and the sweep.
so imagine we had a sweep with that, right? And then I think you could actually draw a helix or something, right? Somewhere.
There's a bolt
What?
already made.
Yeah. No, but I'm talking about with the thread and stuff. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? So, what you would have to do to create that thing, I think helix. Yeah, helix. And then if I take, no, hold on, let me get back. This is gonna be like a way out of scale bolt, but you will get the idea.
Oh, depth.
Sorry, just bear with me. Think it'll be worth it in the end. No, I missed. So now if I sweep, select the objects to sweep, select the path, right? I mean, like I said, it's kind of out of scale, but you understand the process, right? Yeah. Then if I go down here and I go polygon, and I need to make this hidden because I can't see my center. Why don't you give me the center? Oh, I gotta enter the sides. Was it a hexagon? Octagon. What the? Whatever. It's, I know I can't get to the middle because when I flow down the middle it messes up, but there it is. Bam! I'm way out of scale and completely. Exactly. Oh, well, I mean, you could do that because, so if this was, I mean, I'll make a nut, but it's gonna be really. No, that's fine. No, I gotta go down to here. Now I gotta take. So here's where isolate really comes in handy. I'll take that, right? And isolate. And then you could subtract that, and that. And then if I, well, it wasn't on the center, but you can see it's like, you understand the concept, right? Like, it wasn't on this, because I'm not, you know, I mean, if I was going to do it, I would literally draw all this stuff in like a plan view to get real size, real dimensions, all that stuff. But you kind of see how it could be done. You know, that would be kind of the process. Let me go back because I messed that up. But you get what I'm saying? Like,